Ooh, what up, everybody? This is Kyle. It's Tuesday. That means you are watching Knockouts and Three Counts. And as promised, we're joined by the return, actually, of a very special guest tonight, the Queen of Badstreet herself, the beautiful Miss Miranda Gordy. How you doing?
Great. How are y'all doing?
Hey, man, it's finally 80 degrees here instead of that shit that I saw the last time I saw you in Texas. So I'm really not complaining too much. Corey, how about yourself?
Honestly, likewise, man. I've been outside in the weather all day. It was the first day I get to bust the shorts out on the clock, so not a single complaint from my end, man. Enjoyed a lovely day and got to hang out with the kids after work. So nothing better, man.
Well, sounds like a pretty good day. Well, Miranda, before we get started, go ahead and throw out your social media. Let everybody know where they can find you and all that good stuff.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Pro Wrestling Tees, all under Miranda Gordy. I keep it simple.
See, that's what we like to hear. Keeping it simple is the best policy. Well, you've been pretty busy since the last time I saw you. I didn't even know when we were out there in Texas, but you've been doing your thing, whether it's been at SWE Fury, whether it's been the recent tryouts you had. You've been all over the place, even during the pandemic, like we talked about the first time when we brought you on before the Independent Wrestling Expo. So, first of all, what's been new with you since the last time we had you on? I mean, I know SWE Fury's been killing it. Like, what are some highlights for you since the last time we had you on?
SWE would be the big one. Probably since the last time, I probably gained a couple belts. I lost some belts. I only have one right now. I think I was up to 5 at one point. So still trying to get the SWE Women's Championship belt back, and just helping them grow. They have gone way up since the pandemic. That was probably the best thing, is everything else slowed down, and, we just kept the momentum going. We were already, the numbers were increasing and stuff, but since everybody was at home, they had the opportunity to watch it on Fight, and all the people that really wanted the job came out and did the job, like myself, and so we've gained popularity from it.
I've been watching a lot of the stuff on YouTube. Corey, have you gotten to check out any of the recent SWE episodes?
Yeah, the ones you sent me the link to and stuff, I was able to check out a couple of them.
So I was bummed the last time I saw you because I knew you guys were getting ready to have the WrestleFest right after that. From what I've seen, the biggest thing I like about SWE, and I don't know if you would agree, is I feel like, as cliche as it sounds, I like just the old school feel to it. Like, I don't know what it is. It just has like that old school wrestling feel to it, to where you got to watch next week to see what's going to happen with what you saw this week. And just recently, I know you guys had Big Cass debuted down there with Melina. I mean, you guys are bringing in some pretty big names, and Mark Henry saying he's going to be a part of it. I mean, what do you think it is about SWE that's kind of like making it stick out from all the other wrestling that we're seeing right now?
Probably, I think the biggest,
beside yourself,
besides myself, right, are all the great minds, behind the curtain. You have James Beard, who's been in the business 40 plus years, like wrote the book for Japan, basically, like he's a world-renowned referee. You have a couple of promoters who've been there, done that. They've been doing it since like the 80s. You have Jazz and Rodney Mack. We had Tim Storm, Teddy Long, all these people, all these great minds that have been doing it 20, 30, 40 years are all putting the shows together and booking and, making everything happen. Obviously, the talent like myself and, the rest of the roster make the show. But there's someone who's got to book those people, and that's all the people that I named before. So I think that, they're the glue that's holding all the roster together. And, of course, the roster is phenomenal. Like, we have all the names, but you have the local talent as well, like, Niles Plonk and Moonshine and all those guys. Jeremy Wyatt's on there now. They're all, like, the local indie guys, but they're freaking amazing. So whether you're watching a name or you're watching just a look, you can't even tell because they're all like on the same level, in my opinion, is they're all, the talent is just through the roof.
Look, man, I couldn't agree more. That's why I wanted to ask that. So go ahead, Corey.
I was just going to say that's something we've seen a lot kind of in the course of the pandemic, not just in the wrestling world, but I guess you could kind of say the sinkers sink and the floaters float, you know, like, and especially during the pandemic, we've seen people who are willing to kind of stick their neck out a little bit and get busy have been able to generate a pretty astounding fan base just from being able to be one of the few markets out there. And it's really helped a lot of the smaller promotions, like we were saying, and even just wrestlers in general. It's beyond just wrestling, though. It's in all spectrums, but wrestling in particular, man. Anybody who's willing to make the time to travel and meet these events and stuff still, it's what a better time to try to get your name out, you know, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that's something that I alluded to earlier in the interview. You know, you not only were doing your thing, not only on the indies with like SWE and things like that, you took another trip down to Orlando, I'm assuming, for another WWE tryout. So first of all, how are you feeling after that? And is there anything you could tell us about, you know, the experience as a whole? Like, how far out did you know? And how do you feel coming out of it?
So I was contacted by Mr. Regal back in August, actually. And he said, you know, they didn't have anything open at the time. And they said, absolutely, once they start getting everything running and as soon as they get a spot open for me, you know, I would be on the list. So come February, actually, it would be like mid-January, I think. I got the email, said we want you down. I came down, I think it was February 23rd, if I remember right, 22nd, 23rd. And they flew me down and I had a lot of fun. Actually, it was a really I learned a lot of stuff. I, you know, learned things that I need to work on. Just meeting those people and being around people like William Regal and Bobby Brookside and Matt Bloom. Ace Steel, like being around all like the best knowledge in the world, you know, and of course we did drills and tryout matches and promos and stuff like that. But like, even though like the first day we were doing like all this cardio and stuff and like I'm dripping sweat and I'm like, this is actually really fun. So, because they were super like motivational and they were cheering us on and stuff. So like, I just remember standing in line, like waiting my turn. I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Like, I thought it'd be super militant, but it wasn't. It was a nice experience.
Question: What gave you more butterflies, when you finally dipped your toe into the wrestling business yourself, or that tryout?
They're butterflies in their own way, honestly. Like, I remember my first match just being probably just as anxious as that, because that's probably the biggest thing, probably besides my Japan trip, that was just like, holy crap, I'm about to do this. So it was definitely like, of course I worked, I like upped my cardio and drills and you know, I was somewhat prepared, but for stuff like that, you can never be like 100%, or at least I feel like I could never be 100% because you don't know what's coming. So everything I knew, I was prepared for, and I just tried my best with everything I didn't know. So,
was there something in particular you feel like that stuck out to you that maybe surprised you a little different that you didn't expect going in?
Well, like I said, I thought that it would be like the super militant, because everyone's already explained like, oh my gosh, you're going to die, basically. They basically try to kill you. But it wasn't. Like, there was only 12 people. Of course, they have COVID restrictions now. So there was only 12 people. And like, they were, like I said, really motivational. They'd be like, yeah, you got this, go. And they'd be cheering you on. And they were super friendly. Like, I guess most people, they're going to be stuck up and be like, well, you couldn't do this right, so you just suck as a wrestler. But they were like, no, this is how you can fix it, or let's try it this way, it's better. So they were like all super nice and helpful.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, in a situation like that, that's kind of all you could ask for, I guess, really, is just the helpfulness.
Yes.
And not the like scorn looks and stuff like that. Not constantly in. You're already in enough fear, I could imagine, in your own head of like, oh, am I going to fuck this up? Am I going to do something wrong? Am I going to look bad from the outside perspective in, you know? But to, yeah, have that kind of push in the back is always good, especially in a circumstance like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, they get all kinds of people at the tryout. So they're not expecting you to be like a 5-star worker or anything, which they explain to you at the beginning. They're like, we've seen it all. Just do your best, you know, basically. So.
So that's the thing, though. Do you feel like going there? Do you feel like with your relationship with Michael Hayes and who your dad is and all that, do you feel like that added any like extra pressure? Like they're looking at like, damn, you know, this is Terry Gordy's daughter, you know, like, did you feel any of that going in there, or did you feel like it was kind of just you're ready for it? Because I mean, it's not like you haven't been out on a platform, at least as far as indie wrestling goes. I mean, you've been doing a good job, as you've said. You've already been to Japan and all those kind of things. Was there any extra pressure because of that at all?
Internally, I felt so like, you know, I stuck out like a sore thumb, like, I have to show that I'm a second gen, somewhat, you know, because a lot of them knew my dad, and there's people like Charlotte Flair and Tessa that are like at the freaking top of women's wrestling and they're second gens, and it's like, I better do really well, you know, I better live up to the name. But really, I think at the end of the day, I was just like everyone else. Honestly, I think they looked at me just the same as the next person. So, which I am relieved to know. So,
now,
so that's go ahead, Corey.
Gotta love the Zoom delay, huh? But no, I was gonna ask with you alluded to defending 5 belts at once earlier. I want to know how stressful was that, trying to keep up with 5 different titles through 5 different promotions just to hold on to those belts, man.
She's taking a page out of Liger's book.
Yeah, right. You just, I mean, with a belt, that means you got to go back. And so you're committed to all those places every month or however often they run. And so I was pretty busy with just those promotions, you know, at the time. So I was like, all right, I need to kind of, you know, take a break for a minute. So take a break, get ready for tryouts, all that stuff. It was definitely, like I said, a little overwhelming, but it's nothing that, like, this is all I do. So, you know, I've become proficient at it. I can hold 5 belts and still make time to eat. So,
so with the new normal that we've got with all this stuff since the pandemic, the question is, have you picked up any more new hobbies? Are you doing anything that you weren't doing pre-pandemic? Because I find myself over here just doing just whatever the hell I can do to pass the time when I am home, because by the time I get home from work, I don't want to do nothing, but there's so little to do that you're almost like going like a head case. So the question is, even with all the traveling, you know, was there any new hobbies for you? Or since you mentioned Niles Plonk earlier with SWE Fury, you know, the last time I saw him, he had a hell of a drinking contest. So, I mean, hell, what have you been getting into during the pandemic?
Yes, probably a little drinking. Taste testing the wine that Mr. Plonk produces. Really, the biggest thing, being in the gym has been, obviously I was doing it for wrestling purposes to, you know, get my cardio up in the gym. I really hit it hard for the tryout. And now, like, I'm seeing results and it's like, I kind of like this. So I'll spend a few hours in the gym and like, this is my day, you know. Dieting is meh on the road. It's not so great at home. It's much better. That's a new hobby, is in traveling, we're eating at new places. So instead of just eating somewhere that, you know, is here, we'll try a mom and pop place in the new town. Also a new hobby between Mr. Plonk and I would be making action figures.
I
So,
saw that. Let's talk about
yeah.
that. Them action figures were dope, by the way, first of all.
Thank you. Yeah, so he got a 3D printer, and now when we're bored, we can just pump those out, print them, and paint them and box them up. So, get drunk and do
Am I under the
that.
impression that those action figures we saw were not only signed by you guys, but you hand painted them too?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're all made right here, like printed, painted, boxed, all right here.
That's insane. So
what
go ahead,
characters are you guys doing?
obviously themselves,
Well,
but
yeah.
So yeah, he's been working on, of course, mine and his. We've done a Malico one. We have a couple of friends that he's trying to because you have to create the figure first, and that takes a little bit of time. But he's doing all of our circle of friends. And he's gonna try and see if he can mass produce them for other wrestlers at a low cost, because that's the big thing that most people are missing are action figures of themselves. So he's gonna see if he can do that. He does Doom. What are they called? The Caco demons. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The floating circle,
the little floating spiky ball.
Yeah. The singular.
Yeah, he's done some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
so you guys are getting at it.
Right. Yeah. Just random. I think his kiddos asked for dinosaurs or something. So whatever he can make a model of, he has been doing that. So
those 3D printers are awesome, man. I wish I wish I'd pull the trigger on one myself. I don't know if I have the space. Do you guys just have a desktop one, or do you have a full wide unit? Because I know some of them they can be big guys.
No, it's I guess the desktop unit one is probably 1.5 feet tall by maybe almost a foot wide. Okay. So yeah.
That's cool though. I mean, so the question is this the first action figure you've ever had?
So he made me one a year ago out of another wrestling action figure, he painted over it and stuff. And then I had a fan make me one, a custom one. So I had those two before, but these are the ones that I'm selling. Yes. It's my first one selling.
That's dope though, man. Like I say, I mean, it was pretty cool. Just to see us in graphics and stuff, I could only imagine having your own action figure, even though mine would have a big ass head. But I'm just saying.
That is one thing though I honestly do feel is missing from a lot of wrestling nowadays is kids don't have the access to the toys like they used to, man. You used to see every kid across America had their own ring and 4 or 5 of their favorite wrestlers, and they'd go beat each other up with their friends, and you don't see that stuff too much in the stores anymore. I take my kids shopping every week, and I don't see it too much.
I know everybody's into just collecting them now, right? They're a special, you got to collect them and put them on the shelf in a box instead of playing with them. These, I can print you another one, play with it.
And that's the crazy thing, man. It's so many things, not only in wrestling, but obviously in life with the new norm of what we're going to have going forward, man. It's just so different from, what I remember growing up. And talking about growing up, you with the Hall of Fame going on right now as we speak, I was watching that while we were getting everything all set up. It brings up a good question since it has to do with somebody who's going into the Hall of Fame tonight as we speak. So I saw you share on social media your first interactions with Kane. So
yes.
we need to talk about that because I saw the post about it, but something about you wanting to beat up Kane over what he did to your Uncle Michael. So tell me a little bit about that.
So obviously as a kid, I was 8 years old in 98, and they had the spot, and I shared the video of Kane coming out and my Uncle Michael trying to stop him with a boot. And then I think Kane does something, gives him a tombstone or something, a pile driver or something like that. And, or chokes him. I can't remember. Anyways, he does something to him. it makes me upset. I'm an 8-year-old. I took this seriously, because you don't want to see your family members upset or hurt or whatever. And so my sister and I, who's like 16 months younger than me, we were so hot at Kane, like so mad that he would do that to our Uncle Michael. And that obviously stuck with us for a couple of months until they came to Chattanooga. And, like I said on Facebook, we were walking around the back, like we had met China and like Owen Hart and stuff like that. And Mr. Moody, I call him Mr. Moody. Percy.
Yep.
Everyone knows Percy Pringle. I call him Mr. Moody. But Percy Pringle.
Your dad would be proud.
Right. Percy was like, well, who do y'all want to meet now? And like right then we're like, not Kane. Like, I'm mad at you for not stopping Kane. And, we definitely don't like Kane because he did that. And he just happened to be right behind us. And we turn around and, he was like, y'all don't like me. And so it's just a fun story. Like we told him off. We told Kane how it was, and we like are still here to tell about it. So I'm going to brag about that.
I mean, I would be bragging too. That's a big ass dude. I'm just saying.
He's so big. He's a huge dude. And I actually saw him again whenever I had my match with Thunder Rosa. That was like October maybe. He was there at the ballpark and, I said hi, and I'm sure he doesn't remember that, but I remember as a kid, so next time I see him, I'll have to ask actually. So
that's funny because you kind of, the way you told the story, it made it sound like Kane was kind of unhappy almost with the fact you guys didn't like him. And I always wondered that with people that were especially like really big in the industry and stuff and have that like mass appeal and stuff that have to play a heel. Are they mad at the fact that people don't like them? Like, is that something
they want people to not like them? Heel wants people to not like them.
Well, in the character, yes, they want them to not.
Hell
like
no! If you're doing that, you're doing your job.
In the backstage and stuff like that. I mean, does that would that get in people's nerves a little bit, knowing that they're just a hated, individual just because of a character they're playing? I guess I don't know.
Do I think that Mr. Glenn Jacobs cared at all what an 8-year-old thought? Probably not. I mean, to be totally honest, he probably didn't care. He probably thought it was funny and then forgot about it, So it would, sometimes it does, like, because I play heel at SWE, I'm kind of in between. But if the little kids hate me, of course, character-wise, I'm like, yes, I pissed off little kids. But then it kind of hurts my heart. It's like, oh, man, I wish they were, like, buying my merch and, like, rooting for me and stuff like that.
That's, like, you got to play those two hands. That's what I wonder. Not so much that they care, like, deep philosophically. It's just like, man, I put all this work. People know me. People care, but they don't care the way I was hoping they cared. I don't.
So what are your thoughts on Kane going into the Hall of Fame? I mean, you obviously knew him better than we did. And I mean, you got to see it up close and personal. I mean, my personal opinion, I think it's long overdue, but I think, as far as big men, man, he's got to go down as one of the best to ever do it as far as wrestling goes. So what are your thoughts on him going to the Hall of Fame?
I'm going to be honest. I thought he was already in there. So because why not? Why would he not? Like he's one of the most well-known people of the WWF or WWE. And he's probably one of the best big men ever. So, you think Undertaker and then like you almost immediately think Kane. Yeah. So, like the feud is just like my childhood. So like, why would he not be in there already? But absolutely, he totally deserves it. So if there's anybody, it's definitely him. I mean, everybody that's in there this year absolutely deserves it 100%.
So quick question. So if you haven't watched it, I know you probably don't watch a ton of wrestling outside of wrestling because it's all you do. But if you're a big fan of that feud, you have to go back and watch the thing that they released right after Undertaker retired. The thing about that whole feud. It was, I think it was WWE Untold, maybe one of those that they had on there, but they did one specifically on that feud. And it was just Undertaker and Kane sitting on a stage, just talking free balling about it, and it was pretty cool. So if you're a big fan of that stuff, you might like that one.
I will have to check it out. Yeah, I keep up with wrestling. I don't have the time to just sit and totally watch like a 3-hour show. I don't. Like I have a horse and stuff. So, like I got to do things.
Yeah. Not many people really want to sit and watch Raw for 3 hours. I'm just saying, but
yeah. They're doing something to be allotted that time. Obviously, there's enough people to watch it to have increased it. I thought 2 hours was a lot, but they're making 3 hours. So, I mean, kudos to them, I guess.
I mean, hey, look, I'm not saying that I'm not still excited to watch WrestleMania because WrestleMania is still WrestleMania, but you're right. 3 hours gets to be a lot, especially when we all know that wrestling is wrestling, and sometimes the shit just ain't always the best all the time. But there's a reason why they're number one, and it is what it is. But I had to get what your thoughts were on Kane after I saw that post, because I was dying reading that at work because I half-assed looked at it when I'm at the cash register, and I'm laughing, and we got the masks on, and I'm like, it's a good thing these people don't realize what the hell I'm laughing at. Because, man, it's it's crazy because we say that with Kane, but Taker's not in the Hall of Fame yet either. So, I mean,
I thought he was. So, like, why are these people not?
I think it's one of those things they want to wait till they're done wrestling, though. And since Taker kept coming back, I think.
That's what I was just about to ask. Is it like they have to be inactive for like 3 years' time or something like that? Like kind of like Cooperstown with baseball. Like you have to be retired X many years before you can even be eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Possibly. I honestly have never asked. I'm sure I could find that out. So now I have a mission. When I go down and spend some time with Michael, I will ask him what's the criteria for that? Because I kind of want to know now too. Like, there's so many people. Like, if you would ask me, like, yes, Undertaker is in the Hall of Fame. Because why not? Why would he not be? And wow. So you just told me something that I didn't know. I just assumed. So.
That was just always my guess. I've never had anyone confirm that to me, but I mean, it just always seemed like if you watch how they induct people, I feel like for the most part, other than Kurt Angle, who went in right before, his last match, quote unquote, with WWE. I mean, like I said, there's very few times I've really ever seen somebody get put in like that. So that was just always the default. I figured it had to be till they retired or something,
Yeah, it might be. I know that they try to, like the older people, they try to wait until they're kind of in their territory. Like they waited for the Von Erichs to be in Texas and the Freebirds to be in Texas, and
makes sense.
Like the Georgia people to be from, So I know that much, but I don't know as far as like the absolute legends like Kane and Undertaker. Like, why the heck? Like why? They should have been some of the first people in the Hall of Fame, I guess, besides like Luthez and like
the OGs and stuff. But Kane's over here trying to run a city and stuff. I mean, Kane's over here trying to run a city and stuff. I mean, this guy over here trying to play like super multitasking. I mean, like I said, it's just crazy to see sometimes the way that goes, because I know Batista was supposed to go in, but he couldn't do it because of some movie or something. So he asked him if they'd put him in later on because he was supposed to be in this class too. So it's crazy. There's got to be a million different reasons that you just don't know what's going on. But all right. So since we mentioned it earlier on, the last time we saw you was we were down at Pele Pro Wrestling, which shout out to them. I know they're getting ready for their next show, June 19th and all that good stuff. I wish I could be down there, but I will be back in Texas May 1st for, as you mentioned, Thunder Rosa. We're the proud sponsors of Mission Pro Locked and Loaded. That's going down May 1st. We'll see if Dave LaGreca survives Thunder Rosa. But my question to you is, you mentioned Niles Plunk. So who wins in a drinking contest? Miranda Gordy or Niles Plunk? Because man, him and Malico were getting down over there, and I'm like, damn. Even at wine or whatever we're drinking, there's only so many you can handle.
A drinking contest between me and Niles. What are we drinking?
I mean, your choice, ladies pick.
I mean, wine, we're probably tit for tat because I do like wine myself. And he just happens to be the connoisseur of it. As far as beer, he probably beats me because beer is super filling. I don't know. I've drank a lot of beer, so I don't know. We've never tried it because I hardly drink beer now because trying to like if I can exclude one alcohol. Yeah, it's hard because beer just makes you so full. So I might tap out on that one. We'll give that one to him. Tequila, I got him. I can put away the tequila. So
do you have a favorite of the 3 drinks you just named out of wines, beers, and tequilas?
Daily drinker, wine, a good time, tequila. If there's nothing else, I'm still gonna drink, I'll do beer. So
see, I've never really drank wine like that. For me, it always ends up being beer or whiskey mostly. That ends up being what it is most of the time.
I could tell, Kyle, by just the way that you said, even if it's just wine will put you on your ass, Kyle.
I know, and that's the thing.
Woo, that stuff, it catches and it hits like a train out of nowhere. You'll be like 3-4 glasses in, everything's cool. You're almost a full bottle deep, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, well.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
And you can get a bottle of red wine for like $3, like $2.50, $3. And we're in a winery, but we'll still get the cheap stuff. And you can drink the whole thing. And not only will you get like a really, really good buzz, but you saved a lot of money and you don't have to worry about getting all like a beer gut because it's red wine. It's good for you. So that's why we drink wine all the time. No sugar. You can't get fat on it. Well, red wine. You can't get fat on it. So that's what we drink.
Favorite one in particular out of those? Out of wines, obviously red wine, I'm assuming is your favorite, but
yeah, I drink Merlot. We really like the Winking Owl brand, which is Ollie's brand, and you can get it. I think it's like $3, and you drink that bottle, and you are set for the night. For real, it's like the cheapest, best drunk ever. So
the cheapest, best drunk ever.
Wine drunk hits different. I don't know if it's the.
It does. It really does.
Fruit compared to the fermented, grain or whatever, but it really does, man. It hits differently entirely.
So I'll self-admit it. Like for me, I've never been like the biggest drinker because I got drunk pretty bad a few times and it screwed up my Crohn's. But the thing that used to get me in trouble because I've always been bad for drinking pop. Have you ever drank the Not Your Father's root beers or the Coney Island root beers and stuff like that?
Yes, I've had those. Of course, I like them. They're good.
Oh my God.
There's something different.
So much trouble.
That's.
Those got me in so much trouble because you could drink through them just like regular pop. And then the thing is, by the time you're through even just a 6-pack of them, because of the alcohol percentage they got in them, I mean, damn it. It's like, dude, you're just like, damn, I only drank a few of them and you're thinking it's pop. And then by the time you turn around and think, you're just like, oh, damn. So, yeah, that was the only one that really ever got me in trouble with that stuff. Uh-oh, we got somebody in the comments here. What up, Connor? Connor Skyjacker dropping in. Don't know what's going on. How you doing, brother, man? But, yeah, like I say, I had to ask that question because that was pretty funny. They went tit for tat for a long time before things spilled over into the wrestling ring. Go figure, at a wrestling show and somebody ended up fighting. Hot damn. I mean, I'm just saying, anytime there's a ring around, it's funny. Everybody wants to fight all of a sudden. I don't know what it is. But as we go into WrestleMania this weekend, are you going to be checking out any of it? Is there anything that you've seen advertised that you are interested to see how it plays out or anything?
I'll probably watch highlights. I might watch a little bit of it. We have a show this weekend in Arkansas. So I'll have to watch it after. So after that, I'm sure it's like, oh no, they have a crowd, right?
They got crowds both nights. Okay. There's 25,000 a night, I think.
That's not so bad. At least they can have people there. I'll watch it after we get back home, just to check it out, just to see like any title changes or like how the women's match went and stuff like that. There's no one that I just absolutely must see right now. Unfortunately, I hate to say that.
You're not the only one. It's
okay. But I think a lot of people kind of feel a little underwhelmed. Like it's this year is not like some huge built up like thing.
It's not a banger by any means. I mean, I think at this point, people are just happy that there's going to be fans in there. That answered the second question, because I was going to say, are you headed down to Florida for that? But you're going to be in Arkansas, because I actually, after we get off here, am supposed to be doing an interview with Megaran. He wants us to come hop on his show for with AJ Gray for the Culture show this weekend. But it's crazy, man, because I was getting calls left and right, because up till the pandemic, I'd been to the last 3 WrestleManias and was supposed to be there last year. I had a ticket, but they refunded it, obviously, because of the pandemic. And so everybody's like, bro, are you going down to Florida? And I'm like, no, man, because I kind of had to choose, because Megaran brought us down there for AEW Revolution, and I figured at the time, well, we don't know if there's going to be fans at WrestleMania, so I can go to this, or I can, play around and wait with that. So I went that way, and then wouldn't you know it, now he's down there DJing a bunch of the shows and doing some ring announcing, and goes, hey, bro, you want to come down to Florida? And I'm like, fuck you, man. I'm still I'm still working the full-time job, man. So my traveling is a little constricted. Too busy throwing your mail. Well, we've kept you on here for quite a while here, but I want to thank you for your time and all that good stuff. Before we let you go, what do you got coming up? You said you got your show in Arkansas, and is there anything else you want to plug or let everybody know to be looking for?
Is there going to be
sure
as well? That's one thing I was curious about.
Which one?
Is there going to be fans in attendance in Arkansas? I was curious about that.
Yeah. So all the shows that I'm on into the foreseeable future all have fans, all at full capacity, thankfully. A big one I have up April 24th is the Superstars Fan Fest in Rome, Georgia. Okay. Just got word that Doc Gallows is going to be there. The Four Horsemen are going to be there. I have a match against Charlie Punk with special guest referee Bambi. There's a bunch of other local people going to be there. It's sold out. So it's at full capacity. Obviously, in the foreseeable future, every month I have SWE somewhere around Texas. They're going to be in Irving at the Southern Junction on the 24th. I won't be there, but it's still worth checking out. Of course, USA Championship Wrestling, I'll have a couple shows with them coming up. And then kind of odds and ends places. I have an autograph signing, one in New Jersey, May 1st and 2nd with Jerry the King Lawler. So I'll be, pumping all that stuff out and advertising and everything. So y'all see me around somewhere.
Hey man, you're out here doing everything. How good does it at least feel to finally be hearing shows are sold out again? Even if it's not the sold out we're used to, the shows are selling out again.
I love it. It makes it so much easier. It makes my job so much easier, because really wrestling is, you're there for the fans, and trying to do it without the fans is really tough. And it's kind of like, what am I even doing? And so obviously the energy from the crowd makes it better, but seeing people happy and out of the house and living normal life makes me even happier.
I couldn't agree more with you on that one. And we're in the same boat. Like I said, we're going to be making our way down to Texas come May 1st for MPW Locked and Loaded and all that good stuff. And it's good to see that you're out here doing your thing. Hopefully, once things open back up, we got to get you to come to a show here in Detroit or somewhere in like the general area.
I'm so down. I've only been to Michigan one time, but I haven't wrestled there. So I have to hit like all 50 states, right? So I definitely need to wrestle in Detroit.
Hey, man, promoters that are watching this, all the Michigan promoters, I know you guys check us out. Mike Blackwell, BCWA, TKW, all of you guys over here, you know, you just heard it. She's trying to make her way to Michigan. Book that shit.
Book it. I travel. I'm easy to get along with. I'm a draw. Like, I'm everything you need. I put on a good match. So
I can attest to that, and you're definitely a good time to hang out with. I appreciate the beer, madam. It was a good time in Texas, and it was good to see you. Glad you didn't get stuck in that snow shit, because, man, I almost got caught in the snowmageddon the last time I saw you.
Yeah, Nope, I got out of there.
I sat on a plane for they delayed it 2 hours going, and then I sat on the plane 2 hours before we finally left out, and they got 6 inches after I left. It was insane. Like I said, at first they were tripping. I'm like, man, this ain't even no snow where I'm from.
Right? Yeah, so, that was crazy. I'm sorry I missed it. Not.
I wouldn't be shit. I wouldn't be at all. I don't blame you at all. You got while the getting was good. And like I said, it's looking like it's getting to be about that time for us. So I just want to thank you again for your time. Hopefully our paths are going to cross again soon, whether it's in Texas or you coming up here to Detroit. Make sure you're following her at all her social medias. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you can see our social medias right there in that corner. Make sure you hit the damn subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And make sure you check us out. We're usually live Tuesdays and Thursdays, but with all the WrestleMania shenanigans, we're going to be live on Friday this week, going to give you our thoughts and recap of NXT, Stand and Deliver, and tell you what the hell we think going into WrestleMania. And shout out to past guests of the show, Ken Brass. Be safe down there. Don't come back with the COVID. And until next time and in the in-between time, peace. All right.